Why, hello to you. So I'm back in Thailand. Thank Christopher Hood. We made it. And I have till February. But today, I just want to talk about the nightmare of getting from Malaysia back to Thailand. I can't believe how hard it was to make it to that airport. It was a nightmare. I was panicking, losing my shit. So we're going to talk about that and what's next for me. Will he stay or will he go now? Today. Okay, so here's the deal. I had a flight at 10 a.m. to go back to Thailand, and I didn't really think of that. Like, it sounded late. I was like, okay, but what I didn't realize was Malaysia is an hour ahead. So I'm operating an hour back in the future, in the past. I know how time works, for the most part. So the day before I'm leaving, I'm thinking in my mind, like, that's 10 o'clock that my flight leaves, and I like to be there like 2 hours early. So that's 7 o'clock. I gotta be at the airport. And it takes an hour to get to the airport from the bus stop. So that's 6 a.m. I gotta be at that bus stop. And it's gonna take me a good hour to get to that bus stop. So we're talking 5 a.m. leaving time. And I don't usually wake up till 6. But I don't know why every time I have to get up early for something, I just wake up. Boom, we're ready. So I was up at 4:30, showered, got my stuff. I had it all packed the day before. I was like, let's go. We got plenty of time. Let's head on to that bus stop. Now, I'm cheap. I could have just taken a taxi. Just take a taxi, takes you right there, probably 25 minutes, and we're good to go. But I was like, I'm going to enjoy the scenic route. I'm going to walk. I mapped it out. I drew a little map. I was staying near the Thai embassy, and I looked up the KL Central. I was like, okay, you just walk left, and then go south, and we're good to go. Many a nightmare happened on this journey. And the first of all, I kept seeing buses pass me. And I'm like, I could have just taken a bus. And then I kept seeing the stations, free bus. And I'm walking like a jackass. Free bus. And I saw at least 5 of them pass me. And I'm like, why aren't you waiting? They come every 3 minutes, it looks like. So I've waited. And I got on one. I was like, do you go to KL Central? And he's like, no, but we go that way, kind of. I was like, all right. So I'm tracking myself on the GPS, and we're heading there. And I was like, oh, this is a lot better. Look how fast with that arrow's moving. I was like, all right, we're doing good. And then he turned right instead of the left that I wanted to go. And then I went up, and I was like, so this is where you don't go anywhere near where I need to be anymore? He's like, yeah, get off. And he said, wait here for the next one, and that'll go to KL Central. I was like, same stop, but you're going the opposite way. You're lying to me. So I get off, and I talk to one of the locals. I was like, does this bus go to KL Central? He's like, no, you got to go that way. It's like, yeah, I knew that. Why did he tell me to stop here? He didn't care. He wanted me to get lost and miss my flight and sleep in the undercarriage of a homeless man's wing. How dare you? So this guy was just like, yeah, you got to go on that side of the street. And I looked, and it's a one-way street. I'll go in this way. I was like, what do you mean that side of the street? There's nothing going that way. What do you mean? So I just walked. I was like, all right, we got a little lift. I'll walk the rest of the way. We can do this. We still got time. Kind of. So my walk turns into one of those hippie fast walkers in the Olympics that are just like, this isn't running. My feet aren't leaving the ground. This still counts as walking, as speed walking. You look like an asshole. Anybody that does that needs to be shot in the leg. But I realized my time's running out, and I start running. So I'm running, and people keep asking me about my cardio on a carnivore diet. I felt like I could run forever. And I had all my shit, big heavy backpack, and I'm just running. And I'm seeing my route, and it doesn't look like there's a direct path. Kuala Lumpur is the most confusing city you've ever been to. Like, I'm hoping I'm saving somebody's life here. You can't walk anywhere. Every little street turns the other way. You have to go like this, and then we go that way. And then it'll happen again 7 times. And there's loop-de-loops everywhere. And I was like, what's happening? Like, I was tracking myself, and then my GPS started pointing the wrong way and shit. And I was like, what? I was walking down the street and then I actually circled back at one point and I was walking down the same thing I just walked down. I was like, it didn't even line up. There's no way that happened. Like I turned and then kept walking, but I ended up back there. It made no sense. So I'm starting to panic now because my GPS is lying to me and I can't make it. I'm running out of time. So I just walked, I found a bus station and I asked the guy, do you go to KL Central? He's like, yes. And they're all eating their lunch. The buses are there waiting. I'm like, y'all gonna leave soon or what? He's like, yep, soon. It wasn't soon. So I get on this bus and it was 1 ringgit. You pay the ringgit before you ding it. So I doubled down. I asked him, you go to KL Central? He's like, yes. I'm like, okay. So we're tracking it. We're speeding our way through life. And I missed it. I missed my moment. We were going, I saw it. We were so close to KL Central. I was like, if I get off here, I can just walk. But whatever, he said he's going to KL Central, so he'll probably loop around this little block and then go up. And then I see my GPS, and he makes a left, and he's going south of this fucking bus stop. And he keeps going. I'm like, what is he doing? I should have got off there. And he kept going. I was like, okay, because my route changed on the map. It's like, okay, now we're doing this little loop-de-loop. And I was like, okay, he's probably just gonna go there and then back up. And then every time he kept getting further and further, and then the loop-de-loop never happened. So I waited way too long for that. And I was like, aren't you going to KL Central? He's like, no. I was like, what do you mean, no? You said you were going. And then some lady was like, no, you got to get off and go to the other side. I'm like, I'm late. I'm going to die. So I'm fuming at this point. He just took me like half an hour in the wrong direction. And I'm like, shit, why didn't I get off? Why didn't I listen to my intuition? He said, get off. Just get off here. You can walk right there. I would have made it, but I didn't. So then I start running up the other direction and I'm tired. I'm sweating. I ran out of water. It's Malaysia. 45 degrees. It was so hot. And I'm looking back and I don't see any buses. So I keep running. Then I look back, then I see the bus and I missed the stop. So I ran back. I just made that bus. I paid my another 1 ringgit. I showed him my ticket. I was like, I missed it. I went too far. He's like, 1 ringgit. It's like, I already paid the ringgit. He lied to me. Paid the ringgit. So I paid the ringgit. And then he took me there. And we're running out of time here. My plan was to take the bus to the airport. Nice, smooth, cheap. Everything's affordable. And by the time I got there, I was like, I don't have time. I got to take that express train that the elite take. How much is that going to cost me? It was $17. I thought it was a lot more than that. That's when things finally started to calm down. I started reading signs. It's like 25 minutes to the airport. We're never late. Every 15 minutes we leave, we're the best. So it was a smooth, air-conditioned ride, 33 minutes to the second terminal. And we're at the airport. We have I think an hour left. This is an international flight here. And I like to be a couple hours early. I had all this check-in shit to do. And I waited in one line to get in. And it took a little while. And then they're like, oh, you got to check in. I was like, I thought this was the check-in. So I had to go back. And I waited in another line. And it was just an information booth. He's like, go to this one. I'm like, I cannot make any more mistakes. I don't have the time. There was a Chinese family of 15 ahead of me. Every little babies with suitcases, little baby suitcases. So it was finally my turn in line. I get there and he's like, you better hurry up, they're boarding. I'm like, that Chinese family had too much sex. 15 babies. It's not my fault they love each other so much. So I checked in, I found my gate. I was there 15 minutes to spare. And I just felt the relief. I was like, we did it. Finally, we did it. I even had enough time to do some Thunder Monkey push-ups, which I found on Chapter 14 of the Monkey Strength program, available for $19.99 with 10% off if you share it on Facebook. So we got on the plane. There was a screaming baby, like a freaking screaming autistic child that was freaking out. It sounded like he was dying, terror screams for his life. Like, it was the most annoying, screechy scream. The whole flight, 2 hours. It's like, you gotta be kidding me. I wanted to throw that kid off. What I meant to say was I wanted to comfort that child and see what was wrong with him and see if I could be of any help. That's what I did. So we land in Hua Hin, and then we got to go through immigration, and I get there and I give her my passport, and she says, "How long were you in Kuala Lumpur for?" And I'm just panicking, like, is there a limit? Because I know some whiteys just leave for an hour or two and come back, and they're like, "No, what the hell was that? You're just trying to get back in our country." So I stayed 4 days. I was like, is that enough? Oh God. So I just said it. 4 days, just a little vacation. So she said, okay. And she stamped me through, and she said I had till January and I could extend to February. And then I asked her, I was like, what's the limit of how long I can stay? Like, what if I only stayed 2 days? And then she was like, what? And I'm like, why am I talking to her? You have the visa, run. Just run, what are you doing? So just like, yeah, I don't know. Okay, I'll leave. And I'm exhausted at this point. They don't serve water on the flight. I haven't had water yet. I ran through Malaysia, sweating buckets. And then I had to ride my bike home, which was like a good 11, 12 kilometers in the desert heat. Obviously I got water along the way, but I think I underestimated that travel back. I was like, yeah, I'll just ride my bike back. I was exhausted. That was a shitty ass ride. So we made it. It was a pretty good trip. I had fun. It was a good trip. I like Malaysia, kind of. The Kuala Lumpur was much better than Penang. Everything went smoothly. I like the Airbnb. It is getting dark. It is getting dark. So now I have till February here, and I really don't want to do another visa run. They're so nerve-wracking. You never know if you're going to get the visa. And I don't know, I've been here long enough that they're probably like getting suspicious that I'm living here. So I think we're going to leave. The plan is to go back to Toronto in February, but it's kind of like the worst month on earth to be in Toronto, dead of winter with no end in sight. So I might go somewhere like on the way back. I'm just debating. Maybe stop over in America somewhere, or the Philippines, somewhere like fly a little closer to Toronto, a little warmer still, hide out a month or two, and then go back. So we'll see. All right, I'm sweating like a wild boar, and it's dark, and I'm thirsty, and I'm gonna go to the ocean and let my worries melt away into the jellyfish. I got stung today a little bit. You can't see it, it's too dark, but it wasn't even a jellyfish. It was just like they shed their tentacles. They just shed them, and you can't see them. They're invisible. And I swam in. I felt it. It was like a line, and it stung my chest and my arm, and I'm like, shit. That's not fair. You can sting me when you're dead. That's a life hack. They're immortal. That's not good. So we're done. Thank you so much for watching the video today. Consider giving it a thumbs up if you liked it. Thumbs down if you live in Alaska and you have a basement apartment that you will rent to me for 7,000 American dollars a month with all the whale meat I can eat. Okay, we're done. Thanks for watching, and buy a Vegetable Police t-shirt. And subscribing for more videos, and I'll see you in the next one.